I'm pretty excited about getting the Brittany mic off. I like my handheld. I'm going to continue on. And so those that didn't know, I used to direct a Bible camp and would raise funds and come and give reports. And so that's kind of what we're doing today. I want to share with you what was happening in Nicaragua when we went a couple of weeks ago and to encourage you by the work there. Some people scratch their heads. Is this what we should do on Sunday mornings? If you go and you look at Paul's letters to the churches, a lot of it was giving a report and encouraging others about the work that was happening on these different mission trips that he took. If you have recently become a member here, you may not know much about the work. And so I want to just take a moment to give you a quick history. This congregation has been involved in Nicaragua now for 25 years, beginning in 1999. If you want to look at that history, there's some really nice boards and plaques put up and pictures in the FLC right as you come into the building, before you get to the teen room, if you just want to take a moment and read that. It began as medical mission works. We were going down, supplying medical needs, visiting the congregation, and encouraging. And that quickly turned into a relationship there with the people that was meeting in Mambo Tambo. Now, Chris and I will both be mispronouncing things this morning, I'm sure. But we met a man named Carlos there. There was a church basically meeting under a pavilion, and we would go and, again, do medical mission work with them, form the relationship, and then eventually in 2005 began to partner with them in building a building so that they were no longer worshiping just outdoors. This continued to spread to Maposillo. In 2009, we had already began working with this congregation as well, bought land, built another building so that this group of people could move forward and to make a bigger impact. We began to support Carlos so that he could work full-time, also during these early years. This continued forward, and 2 church plants become the result, El Salsa and Aswapa. And so now, today, there are 4 different congregations that the San Jose Church supports in Nicaragua. And each year, except for 2 years around the 2020 pandemic, but each year we take a mission trip to one of these locations to visit, support, and encourage. Carlos, of course, as many of you know, passed earlier this year, and we began our mission trip actually going to encourage his family and stop by the Mambo Tambo Church. I don't know if some of you have seen some of the video footage, but I wanted you to get an idea of what these buildings are like. This is the one we built in 2005. It reminds me of camp. You'll notice there's not a lot of air conditioning. It's hot. It's simple. But they have done a lot with that building. You see the fans up top, which offer a little bit of relief when you pack a building out. This year's effort, though, focused in Maposillo. They welcomed us there. They had a lot planned for us. Soon after we got there, we met the minister, Sean. And I know I'm saying that a little wrong, but he introduced us to the work site. This year, we wanted to go and build 2 classrooms. They had actually already constructed one, and the other one we started laying block on the ground level. That pile of black stuff there, that's sand. I know it don't look like sand, but that's sand. We actually had to sit and sift sand to make our own concrete. And so this is what making concrete on the ground looks like. Feels like a lot of work, but looks like it looks pretty messy. And we spent the better part of our work efforts or construction efforts doing this. Some people were more happy and enthused about doing the block laying than others. This is Chris and Corey up there laying block in the rain. I'm keeping it to show Habitat for Humanity how Chris is not using proper scaffolding down there on the work site. I get him in trouble. This is blackmail for me later. This is the classroom that was finished. A lot of our efforts working in this classroom, we painted it. We hung the doors. We ended up grouting the floors. And then Miss Kathy took artwork down so that we could put art on the walls. We also finished out some of the bathrooms there, which were great. We didn't expect showers when we went. They had done a lot of work before we got there. I was told that we would be showering out of a bucket of water and a cup, but they actually had a little concrete showers with a shower head in it so that we could shower. You'll notice a lot of hand tools because this area, the power grid, does not have enough electricity to just help everybody all the time, and so it's on rotations. And so it seemed like every other day sometimes we were without electricity, and so you would go back to the hand tools that I wasn't used to. While down there, we also did visitation. Over 70 homes we visited, and I'll tell you, this is a different kind of poor. I'm used to working around underprivileged people in America. I started work in Selma, Alabama, as a young youth minister, and I remember knocking on doors and people answering the doors dressed a lot nicer than me, driving cars a lot nicer than me, but yet I was the one trying to do benevolence. It's a different kind of poor. Even on the way down there, I had someone at a gas station. Hey, I'm hungry. Can you buy me breakfast? And I'm like, well, after gas, I'm going to walk over here to McDonald's. I'll get you breakfast. I don't want McDonald's. I want Dunkin'. I'm like, okay. We come down here. We gave out 140 bags in benevolence. I tell you, people are excited about rice and beans. It's a different kind of poor. I remember my brother going to Honduras probably 20, 25 years ago and talking about just trying to eat in the back of the church building, and they weren't sure why they were made to go and eat in the back of the church building. Every day they broke for lunch. Go back here and eat. And so they break open their meals and eat alone. But he figured out first day when the kids who are starving are trying to look through cracks in the wall sometimes, it made it very hard just to eat because you felt guilty. The people there were amazing. This lady, 18 children, by the way, is one of the families we visited. Frances was an amazing interpreter. Got to spend some time getting to know her, but you kind of go back. I'm going to try to let you kind of catch the room again. You've got a smoky kitchen in the back and this main room and maybe one little room off the side, and I think 18 children. Wow. But a lovely people. They open their homes to you. They're excited to sit and talk and visit, and they're excited about prayer. Again, it's hard to compare the two different works. One I do here and the one you go overseas. People enjoy sitting and chatting and praying with you. I'm not eating up their time. I'm not cutting into their television show or their game time. It was interesting that almost every house we visited, although no electricity, somehow they still had a cell phone. That to me was interesting. We enjoyed worship with them. We had interpreters through the voice. Augustine there is interpreting a prayer, but that was encouraging, that they wanted to take the time to make sure everybody in the worship was on the same page, a unity. We, Saturday, did a vacation Bible school. And again, you have some of our members up there, James talking to the kids. As it backs out, you see the building at Mapasila, very much like the one in Mambo Tambo. But you've got the fans up top, open air. That's where we slept. We just had to clean up everything and throw air mattresses down at night. One night we had some cats coming in fighting because we were trying to leave the doors open for air to come through. And the wildlife come in, so we had to shut the doors. They had I think the final count that they gave me was 95 kids. That was impressive. This was one of the classrooms that we finished before the week was out. We're still working on the other one across from it. But here's about half the kids in this one classroom that came to participate, and that was encouraging. Little Francis also interpreting throughout the week. So it was Mama Francis, not Francis Sr., it was Mama Francis. As we left, this was some of the artwork again. It was nice as we closed up, everybody kind of pitching in to finish the artwork. You see Miss Kathy did a wonderful job with that. Corey, I think, tackled the rhino. James did a bunny. Chris did a goat somewhere. But it was neat as we were closing out, just leaving an impression on a people. Leaving them with something. It was funny to watch the kids come around and peek at the artwork, excited about it. How in the world do you do that? It says, well, I'm just coloring where Miss Kathy drew the lines, but you know. And every year we've gone, we're leaving an impression on them that they're important enough for a church across the way, another country, to come down every year and love on them, spend time with them. It makes an impression on them. And it gets to what I saw, and this is what I hope that you take with you this morning. What did I see? I saw people that made an impression on us. I see them watching us for years and now teaching us something more about Christ. So maybe I realized that I didn't know. A heart as we're trying to work on a work site, and we do things differently because, again, different practices. Setting a toilet, for instance, they don't have a flange. They don't have a schedule 40 PVC. They just put it in concrete, and they're, frustrating sometimes waiting on me to catch up to how things are done. But they're patient. This was a video of when we got there. People think, like I did, we're going to go down there and work. But what you'll notice, after we got there, this kind of scaled around, and here comes in all their volunteers. They're not just waiting for us to come down and work. They've already been working. They're going to be working when we leave. You got a carpenter there coming in, and Jesus in the back. Yes, his name is Jesus in the cap. That was the master builder, the block layer. But they're ready to work. They come alongside us. They're praying for our efforts here. That's encouraging that we have a church praying for us. It's not just a one-way street. I compare things. I was impressed with the work because it was such an established work. This top corner, I'm not going to mention the name, but this is a church building in South Mississippi that was built after Katrina. Churches come down after Katrina. People are pouring money into that area because it was devastated, and churches had a lot of money to give, to the point they decided to build a church down in South Mississippi along the coast because they had over 60 people that were excited because they were in need. They were coming to get things. I heard about this work. I went down to visit, just trying to see if I could recruit some kids. I showed up. There was 3 people for class. There was 4 people for worship. Church is 3 years old. There can be church plants that aren't done very well and not thought out. But what I saw, our involvement with Nicaragua was amazing. And I think that was a work done well, and it should be commended for those that have taken the time over the years. Real quick, this is their Beyond campaign. This is a tree they have inside. When we were doing Beyond and we're raising money, it doesn't look as fancy, but it's the same concept. They got a tree here where their members would come and put their name on the tree in the form of a leaf with a commitment. Even the children coming and making a commitment of funds they're raising for their own classrooms. They need help, of course, but they are involved with the work. Here's a quick video.
Elaborate. Elaborate, 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 elaborate a mi Señor.
That's Chris, by the way.
Elaborate.
Elaborate mi Señor.
That's so good.
You've got a church that are influencing their community, a church influencing their children. You've got a church influencing the wildlife. And Chris just wandered over for some quiet time, and I guess humming triggered the parrot. I'm not sure how that triggered, but he took a little video of the parrot singing. VBS songs. During our visitations, there was a lot of people come and visit for the final. We had all 4 churches actually come, and some other churches in the area come on Sunday to join us. But a fruit of our visitations, we did have Senor Amur here, was baptized that Sunday, and we had a lady, Paula, that she and her husband were going to try to work out a marriage they were struggling in. And so those were some of our efforts, and again, so many doors that we were opening for that church to continue working in their community. Our verse today that we read, Colossians, chapter 1, beginning in verse 8, and he also informed us of your love in the Spirit. I'm going to introduce you to that he this morning as we're making things personal. That's going to be Ken. I know there's a lot of other names. He advised me not to mention names because there's too many, and he'll mention that in a moment. But for this reason also, since the day we heard of this congregation in Nicaragua, we have not ceased to pray for you and ask that you may be filled with the knowledge of his will and all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you will walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, to please him in all respects, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God. It's amazing to me as we're reading this passage and doing a class in Colossians just a few weeks ago, and then it feels like we're living that as we're actually doing mission work. And so give Ken a moment to come up and share something.
I'm sure many of you in this building today can relate to that. It has been it's been 25 years of effort, and we have focused on Nicaragua. And in that period of time, over 200 members of this congregation have been to Nicaragua to participate in a mission effort. That says a lot. Many churches contribute to missions, foreign missions all over the world. This church focuses solely on Nicaragua. And the numbers that you see in the bulletin, the attendance, the contributions are evidence of that fact, that we focus just on Nicaragua. So I'm here to thank this church again for the support, the participation, and I would encourage all of you to consider going with us on a mission. We're going to do the same thing next year with building classrooms in Ixhuapa as we did in Mapacio. Thank you.
Close with this final point. Milton Sewell, president of Freed Hardeman from 1990 to 2008. I had him come and do a benefit dinner for me at the camp. Some people are amazing speakers because, man, you just love hearing them talk. Some people, it's what they say that sticks with you, and that's really Milton Sewell. What he says sticks with you because of who he is. He had done research there at Freed, trying to figure out why are we losing a lot of our young people. And so in his research, he went with it a little different. What's helping keep kids faithful today? What are some things that we are doing well that really make an impact on our kids? And here's some of his findings. Is the number 3 thing that was really keeping kids faithful, sending them on to Christian colleges. Of course, he was raising money for a Christian college. And so this is why he was doing, that's why he shared the research. But what was interesting to me is that was only number 3. Number 2 was Christian camps. When your kids grow up in a Christian camp, it makes an impact on them. And that was the second biggest thing reported over all those churches supporting Freed Hardeman that kept kids faithful. But the number 1 thing that made an impact in young people's lives was mission trips. Foreign mission trips. We've got a lot of mission trips going on around here. We actually had our teens go to Sozo this past summer. We hosted a mission work from Tennessee, And we went to Nicaragua, and we've got people on a medical mission now, and that's great. But I want you as parents to consider this. There's one thing that these three have in common that I've discovered. These efforts are moments when we fast from the world. I check out of the world for a moment. And I live in an environment sometimes like that of the first century church. Now, sometimes your Christian colleges definitely could break that rule. I'm not saying those are perfect places. But especially the camps and the mission trips. And we had, of the 12 people that went this year, my father went, so I got to go on a trip with my father. Max and Dean went, father and son went. We had a mother and daughter go. Those are trips that I really hope that you consider making because, again, we're recruiting for next year, planning for 2025. And that could mean going across the street with me to the village or down to Teen Challenge or doing Celebrate Recovery here. That may mean going into other countries. But even in our 12-step addiction program, the last step, yes, it's about getting right with God, right? I want God in my life. I want to surrender that higher power. I want him to take the lead. I want him to take control. I want him to transform me. But the final step is that now that I am in a good place, I go and I share with others. And I love that about the Christian 12-step programs, that they're going to put you to work. God did not do all these things for us to just sit and get our cups filled every week. And we have a church that gives us so many opportunities to move and to share. And that's one of the reasons I took the job here. I'm excited about a congregation that wants to share in this many ways. Not saying you got to do them all, you'd burn yourself out, but find somewhere to go and to do. This morning, if we can help you, if we can pray for you, if you need to make a decision to surrender your life to God, to start that journey, we want to give you that chance to do as we stand together and we sing.